Go live. And we're live. And we're live. We're on YouTube. Yeah. It's like, where are we live?
Yeah, really.
Let me. I was going to. Let me delete that. So this is for March.
Oh, and if you haven't watched AEW Revolution, you have missed
No,
out.
I haven't.
That was a freaking awesome pay-per-view, man.
I saw a lot of clips the next day. I
Damn, it
made a
was awesome.
point. And when, like I told you on Twitter, when Punk came out to his original music,
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh my god!" So
that
now
was
the AFI song is like my number one song on my playlist right now, just so I can listen to it. And it's a short song, but it's like I just listen to it over and over again.
probably seeing Jeff Hardy come out was like the biggest thing because
Oh yeah, I
the
forgot about that. Yeah.
next the next Dynamite. Let me think. Rampage. No, I think it was Rampage.
Mhm.
The next Rampage after that, they came out after somebody's bout to stare down
Yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh yeah, the Hardy Boys, and let's see. Wait a minute.
Wasn't
Oh,
it?
I can't
Uh,
remember who I had at the
oh,
next, if not the next pay per view, the one after that. The Hardy Boys taking down. Oh, I forget who I had, but it'll just absolutely bring the place down if they do it that way.
let's see.
Not to win the strap, but just to take somebody down. Who
Oh
was it that
yeah.
I was thinking?
Wasn't it?
I
Why
forget,
am I
but they
blanking on his name? But it's like it's the family. It's the three. It was the
yeah,
one Hardy was just Matt was just in.
HFO.
Yeah.
The well, it would have been either Butcher and the Blade, or it would have been
Oh yeah. Totally forgot. Yeah.
Isaiah and whatever Private Party, who
Hmm.
that is just the most bogus tag team that they have. I can't believe they're still running with them. Um, yeah, but the Young Bucks. That's who it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
If the
they've
Young Bucks and the Hardy Boys go at it, the place will just go wild, whoever that is.
and they've I mean they've wrestled,
Mm,
back in the past, back when both Hardys were with, what was it, Impact? Is that who they were with at the
I think
time?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing the whole delete thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's they're Tony Khan is working the fanboys so much that I don't know who the Hardy Boys are going to finally go up against.
Yep.
Who their grudge is going to be against, but man, it's just going to be huge.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, if this is their final run, I'm okay with that. Like,
Oh, sure.
at
Yeah.
least they're gonna have a good time doing it.
Yeah. This is a good place to do it. Yeah. They'll get a lot of eyeballs. They'll get a lot of new eyes, and yeah.
I'm tweeting out. There we go. Okay, good to go. And that one in the lobby might be me. Yeah, because I just backed out. So, okay, cool. What was I? Oh, I was looking. I was trying to see if I had an update on Scott Hall.
He's
That
dead.
was. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I knew that they had taken him off life support, but he was
Yeah,
still alive.
that's what everybody has said is that he's
Okay.
dead. What
Um,
happened to him?
he had, I think it was like multiple heart attacks or something like
Oh,
that,
okay.
and they put him on, ventilator or something like that, so that his family could be there, because that's what the
Okay.
Kevin Nash had put on like his Instagram or something like that to keep tell everybody what was going on. And so once all of his family got there, then they would take him on. They would make the decision, but they were probably going to take him off the ventilator.
Okay.
And so that's what I saw that right before. Well, not right before. It was a little bit before I left work. I had seen that, and so
Yeah.
I've been
Well,
busy and I hadn't thought
I
about looking.
guess it could be that he's still hanging on. Everybody that I've seen tweeting about it has been saying goodbye. Like
Right? Yeah.
it's a done deal. So I'm not exactly sure which way.
Yeah, and so X-Pac was sort of a little not not upset, but he was a little peeved with people saying R.I.P.
Right.
He was like, "My
Oh,
friend's
because
still
he
alive."
wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but that's why I was just getting on Twitter real quick just to
Yeah,
see.
that could be. I mean, a lot of people, that's what they're saying is, rest in peace and goodbye and
Oh
everything like
no,
that
I do
because
see it right here. It says he
okay,
has passed away.
okay.
Yeah, he was only 63.
Yeah, no.
Jeez,
He's pretty young.
that is crazy. Yeah, I mean that's just crazy.
And then whoever the dude was with WWE that had a bad bump and broke his neck.
Big E. Oh, I
Yeah.
saw that. Oh my gosh, that was. And there's the thing I read today. Um, said doctors are saying that he may never wrestle again. I'm like, well, as long as he can walk,
Yeah.
I think we'll all be
Walking. Yeah,
happy.
use his arms. That's yeah.
Yeah. So he took the bump and it looked nasty. He literally landed. It was a belly to belly suplex, landed on his head. Looked nasty. Um, I was already upset with the match because they had changed Pete because it was Pete Dunne. They changed
Mhm.
his name to like Rocco or something stupid. I mean, anyway, whatever.
Okay.
Rebranding.
Yeah,
Dumb.
okay.
So I was already irritated at the match. And then that happened. Purely, it's an accident.
Oh,
Purely,
yeah, yeah, that
pure accident. But they did
definitely.
it outside the ring. So it was, right in front of the announcer's table. Landed on his head. Um, and so they called the stretcher and everything over. He was moving, so he was fine as far as that goes. No immediate loss of feeling or
Mhm.
stretcher stretched him out. He thumbs it up to everybody. Later that evening, they were in Alabama, I think Birmingham or something like that, and so he put on his Twitter feed later that evening, just like, hey, y'all go to bed. Don't worry about me. Everything's good. He like moved his fingers and everything in front of the camera. He's like, I'm doing okay. They told me I broke my neck. Yeah, but that's all I know right
Yeah, and it could just be yeah, his neck is broken, but
now.
it's
Yeah.
just the bones. It's not
Well, the
it's
next
not
day,
what we have in our head as a
yeah,
broken neck,
like on
so
Saturday, he posted something. Maybe it was Sunday, but either way, he posted over the weekend that I think he said it was the C1 and C2 or C1 and C3 that were fractured.
okay.
So
Yeah,
he said there's no spinal damage or anything like that. So,
cool.
but yeah, so
Yeah, that's like, in that, Revolution pay-per-view, Ricky Starks took a bump that looked
hmm
bad on a ladder.
oh God,
Yeah, I was like,
oh
and then, that was his final bump of the match, and so, um, he was just supposed to lay there, and so,
yeah.
I'm wondering, like,
Is
is
he
this
laying there because he
legit
has
or
to?
is this yeah, it's like, oh, man. But, yeah, he took a really nasty looking one, and he's already, like, in 2021, I think, early 21, he
Mm.
broke his neck,
Oh
because of
jeez,
a bad suplex.
yeah,
And so, he went through the healing process and all that, and then seeing him take that bump on a ladder, I was like, "Oh, dude,
yeah.
that's
That's not good.
phew."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hate to say they know what they're getting
Oh,
into.
yeah,
I mean,
that's y
and especially with wrestling with guys who are going to protect you. That are. I mean, there have
that's
been
one
wrestlers
thing.
in the past that that are not, I would say, malicious, but just aren't as careful.
Right.
So things do happen. But
And, that's the thing that you see a lot watching AEW is old versus new. And
yeah,
I'm always like, "Man, that new dog is gonna get somebody hurt."
hmm
They need to, because you can really tell a difference between, like, Danielson and Moxley going at
yeah,
it
mhm,
and some of these, dark elevation people going at
yeah,
it. It's like, man.
yeah. And then you got Sting jumping off,
Uh,
freaking
yeah,
whatever the tunnel entry
yeah,
area. Like,
who
dude, what
yeah.
are you doing? Good for you, but what are you doing?
It's like, you're 1,000 years old, you shouldn't be doing
Exactly,
any of that at all.
exactly. So hey, Doug, how are you? Sorry, that was little. Ed and I hadn't spoken in a while, so getting caught up on our wrestling. We're not going to do
W
a
we
wrestling podcast,
we
but
have several fandoms, that's,
yeah, we're addicted to a lot of things.
yep.
All right, we're gonna take glasses off. So I got too much reflection. which just means I'll eventually not be able to see what I'm looking at. So,
See, I
and
got my iPad over
I've
here, and
got
I got the
tons of
light back
static in my hair.
there, and yeah.
Tons of static in my hair. I'm tired of wearing like, button up shirts and stuff like that when we do the show. I need
Mhm.
like I need a Boom t-shirt of some kind. I did look on like Amazon. Boom actually has like some t-shirts.
Mhm.
Like there's, something is killing the children. There's like 4 or 5 different,
Right.
logos and this and that and
Yeah.
everything. I'm like, all right. But, I don't think there's like an actual like just Boom,
Boom Studios
logo
or
or something to that effect. But I really need to find something. I've even thought like my brother, has all the baseball stuff and everything, and the
mhm.
his teams that he coaches and whatever. He's got a screen printer for T-shirts and stuff.
He himself, or
Yeah,
he goes to one?
he's got one himself.
Oh, okay, cool.
So he's got a little room off to the side in his garage, and that's
So you're like, "Hey, yo, if I
I
can come up with a logo, can
I
you?"
haven't been in that room, and like it was a long time, like a couple of years since it's just no reason for me to go in there when I go over to his house. And I went, he had gotten like some new stickers or something like that. And he was like, "Oh man, just come over here, And so we walk over there. The, I'm not the neatest person in the world, as you can see by all the stuff behind me, but oh my god, I was like, it's like if you can find stuff, good on you. But he's like, "Yeah, I know, I need to clean. Yeah, but whatever." I was like, "Dude,
Yep.
you're about as you're
It's
one
a
of the more busier people I know, so
it's
don't
a
worry about
family thing,
it." It
obviously.
is,
There's a genetics to it.
yes. But yeah, no, I have thought about getting up with him and just, hey, look, just tell me how much it costs and
Right, yeah.
print up a couple shirts or
Yeah,
whatever.
if you do that, let me know.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I got thinking about that maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and so it's just kind of popped up in my head every so
Mhm.
often. I was like, that'd be
Let's
nice.
see, what have I got on? I don't know, you might appreciate this. See if I can get it up here. Can you tell what that is down there at the bottom? See, it says
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Greenbrier Valley
yeah.
Open. Yeah, that's
Is
a
that what
disc
you've played
golf.
in?
Yeah, a couple years ago, the first one that they had, I
Cool,
went to, and yeah, it's hour and a half away from here. So
nice, nice. It's gotten to the point where I'm talking about disc golf so much here at the house. Still haven't gone out and played any,
you
but
need to
my
go, man.
wife is sharing Facebook videos that she's seeing that are now coming across her feed.
Uh,
Like
because
she sent me
because you're
one the other day.
talking too
Right.
much near Facebook, and
Yeah.
it's hearing, and yeah,
Yes.
that's
So it was quite funny.
the audio algorithms are at work there.
Yes. So. All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and get
Okay.
yammering, or let's refocus. How's that?
Okay.
Let's just focus on Boom right now. All right. So what were you on? 32?
Yes.
Season 3, episode 32. All right. In 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to Boom Addiction. My name is Chris Martin, and with me as always is Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how are you?
Pretty good, sir.
Awesome.
Glad to be back at it. We've kind of hit a mini drought there for a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, things come up. You know how life is. But
Yep.
most of you are listening to this stuff in the future, so
So you don't
time
know. It's
displacement doesn't mean anything to
Yeah,
you.
it's like it's the next episode, even though it's like
Although
5 years
Doug
later.
has
Yeah.
probably been wondering what the heck has been going on. He's
Right.
like, I show up, you guys aren't here. Then you do it
And
on a different night.
right, and then I do show up, and you're talking about wrestling and
You talk about
disc golf, and
wrestling.
what is it? Yeah.
So yeah, for those of you who just listen to the audio podcast, don't come by YouTube. We do a little pre-show conversation about whatever we feel like talking about, or whatever we're talking about when we decide to go live.
Yep.
And this episode was all about wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ed and I are old school fans, but really big fans of some of the newer guys and stuff like that. So but yeah, still to this day, you put CM Punk and with anybody, and I'm gonna watch it. So that that I need to go watch the whatever it was, the dollar collar match or
Oh
whatever that
yeah, from
one's called.
Revolution. Yeah.
Yeah, from Revolution. I still need to watch that. But yeah, so we're here talking about comics, Boom Studios, and all that other cool stuff. We'll start this episode like we always start with FOC, with stuff that we're recording on Monday night. So again, this is one of those unfortunate events where you're not gonna probably have time to do it. Hopefully, you've already done it. But if you've not, here's at least what's going on, and maybe you can contact your shop tomorrow and say, hey, the guys I normally depend on to tell me this stuff were slackers and you know didn't didn't do their show in time. Can you help me out? So if you have a good shop, nice shop, you spend big money there, maybe they'll help you out. Who knows? Can't hurt to ask. That's all I have to say. So FOC, as you see up here, Monday, our orders are due Monday, or yeah, Monday, March 14th, which is today. Um, Alice in Alice Ever After. I want to say Alice in Wonderland Ever After for some reason.
Wow.
The in Wonderland is nowhere on there,
No.
but it is a story about Alice in Wonderland. But Alice Ever After, number one. A couple variants here, as you see. There's an E cover here. I'm very happy that this J. Scott Campbell is a regular cover. This has been confirmed.
I want that cover.
Yes, I know. I've already got it on
I
order
want
for
that
you,
cover.
so don't worry.
Being an E cover though, is that a ratio?
No, no, it's a regular. It's FOC. So
Wow. Oh,
they did,
okay. It's okay.
and I confirmed that with Boom Studios. I asked them about it on Facebook when they revealed it. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure because you had contacted me, looking for it, and so I saw that they had posted it, and I immediately asked, is this a ratio cover? Or is this going to be a regular cover? Please say it's going to be a regular cover.
Right. It's just a
And it ends
regular
up,
for FOC.
yeah, it
Okay.
just ends up being an FOC cover. I'm sure a what they're now referring to as the undressed cover. It's only getting worse. It's like it's
Does
a
that?
virgin
Yeah, I
cover.
was going to say,
It's
is that the same as
I've
Virgin
seen
or?
a lot of undressed cover like in their
Hmm.
their image files for. I'm like, oh Lord, it's getting worse.
Yeah, curious.
Um, so yes, there probably is going to be one for this Jenny Frison cover. I don't know for
Hmm.
sure, but I can only imagine she does a ton of covers for it, and they
Yeah.
usually do a logoless Virgin or an undressed variant cover. And I'm sure it being a J. Scott Campbell, they'll at least do that with this cover, if not doing a black and white sketch cover kind of thing.
Frisons in a black and white would be awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
And
would be just beautiful.
let me pull this up just so y'all can get a good look at that. That is
Yeah, that is
that
a
is a nice cover.
yeah.
So not to let's not
Yeah, no, yeah, no,
let's
not
not knock the cover A here.
not knocking anybody else's cover, no.
but but yeah. So yeah, there'll be this is the A and the B cover. This is the E. So a C and a D will probably be a ratio cover of some kind. So yeah. Buckhead number 5 of 5, wrapping up that mini series. We've got an A cover here and a C cover, which is the FOC for this. So again, a B cover will be in there somewhere. More likely a ratio cover. The way things have just been, the way they've normally been doing it, if you don't see it here on FOC, it's more likely it's a ratio cover, and it's more than likely going to be one without the logo on it. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna see how many different ways I can say that,
Right, right.
not say it.
Gotcha.
So, Jim Henson's Storytellers Shapeshifters. Say that 3 times real quick. Number 2, cover A and a cover B here. So we're going to talk about that first issue on this episode. Excuse me. Wow. And then wrap up things with Magic the Gathering number 13. There's a cover A here and a cover B. Magic has been putting out what, 5 or 6 variant covers at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would expect a couple more on that as well. All of them, I've really been paying attention a lot to these variant covers. I try my best. I've done really well. I don't buy the variants and stuff of the licensed stuff, but the create your own stuff I will. But the Magic covers, they do some good stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some nice looking covers out there. So Um, so yeah, so that's all for FOC. So if you're ever wondering, and again, Tuesdays usually when they refresh the page. Tuesdays, the first time you can look at those, go to previewsworld.com/final orders. I think it's final order due or something like
Yeah,
that.
final
But
orders
but if you
due.
look under catalog and FOC, or you can just, even if you don't even remember the website, you can just put previews FOC in Google, and this will probably be one of the first things that pop up. I notice a lot of online shops are showing FOCs pretty early, in the week. So I'm sure something else will pop up so you can take a look. But yeah, it's always, I say it, I think every week, this is a thing that I live and die by when it comes to buying comics. I always want to, check out. I'm getting more and more into variant covers. I apologize. I am slowly returning to old Chris.
Boo!
Uh,
You need to stop, man. It's gonna hurt you.
it, maybe at some point.
It's
I'm
gonna
not kidding.
hurt.
But yeah, so FOC, they do continue to update it during the week. Usually Friday is the last day that they update it. And a lot of times that is talking about, uh, a lot of times it's the second print or a third print of a book if it's already come out that week. If they put it back, for whatever the next printing is, they'll announce it, in FOC for that week. Or, for like Alice Ever After, they didn't show the Frizen or the FOC cover the entire week until Friday.
Yeah, and the Campbell wasn't announced until later into the
Yeah,
week as well.
yeah.
So
So you just kind of, it's never one of those one and done kind of things. You just check it once and that's all it is. You gotta pay attention.
no,
Um,
it's an
yeah,
ongoing thing up until the whenever the cutoff is.
yeah. And so my shop, I've said before, my shop cuts off on Saturday. A lot of that probably has to do with DC Comics. I think their FOC orders have to be in like Sunday night,
Mm.
because they don't use Diamond. They use Lunar. Is that
Lunar,
it? Yeah.
yeah.
So Lunar wants their stuff in on Sundays. So because they ship books out on Monday, so they'll have them on Tuesday.
Is
So
Lunar the only people that do DC now?
I think so. I don't think Penguin Random House. I think they're
Okay.
only doing Marvel. Although,
Yeah,
well, I don't
because
say only doing Marvel. I know a lot of other smaller publishers are either using Lunar or are using Penguin Random House. But I don't know if I think DC is exclusive to Lunar.
okay. Well, because and the reason I ask is because I know Marvel uses all 3 now.
Yeah, yeah.
Lunar, Random House, and, Preview, yeah,
Well, Diamond
that
Diamond
Diamond,
will. It's not. They're not going through Diamond. Diamond gets them through Random House
Random House,
and
okay.
Lunar, or whoever. But the discount, if you say, if you're a retailer, and I don't know the numbers, but if you're a retailer and you only want to mess with Diamond, you don't want to mess with Random House or Lunar, you can still order Marvel and DC and all those other publishers through Diamond. Your discount is different though.
Oh, okay.
You won't save as
Because they
much
have to
money.
go to someone else now,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's like a wholesaler
Right,
instead of,
right.
like direct, from them. So little things that you learn when you're trying to figure out if you want to open a comic shop or not.
Mhm.
Just little bits of information that other retailers, and which is great. That'll tell you. So it's fun information. It makes me very depressed when I think about how many different people that comic shop owners have to deal with just to get their comics.
Yeah.
No one wants a monopoly, but no one really wants to deal with the headaches either of 10 different,
But
distributors.
once upon a time, that's the way it was,
Oh yeah, yeah,
so I mean, you I if I understand the lack of streamline and all the issues that can cause, but if that's what you're used to, then you got spoiled
yeah. Oh
because,
yeah, yeah,
once upon a time, there was, mm, 6, 7, 8 different
yeah.
distributors. Now, the country was still broken up, and there was a primary pretty much just
Right.
because of geographic location, not
Yeah.
because there was any agreement or anything. But, if you missed something from one distributor or they were out, you had many others that you could go to see if you could get that product. So,
Yep.
yeah, convenient, but as we saw, what, a year and a half-ish or so ago,
Yeah,
if your one distributor says, "Yeah, we out," well, then
you're out of luck.
you're kinda stuck. Yeah, so
Yeah, so it's been interesting. All right, so look at a quick look at the books that came. Is it this week? Is that this is this week? The
16,
ninth. The ninth.
the
Oh,
ninth, that
16th.
was last week.
That was last week. Sorry.
Yeah,
This
6
week,
right,
and this is the
16 is this week.
23rd. Yep.
That's next week,
I
right.
don't even have the 16th pulled up. What the frick?
Okay, I do.
Oh, do you? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't throw it on the screen
Oh,
like
well,
you
yeah.
all fancy
I
can, but,
I will
I can
hunt it
read it
down
here.
while you do that.
Okay. We have coming out Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer 4 with 2, 4, 6 covers, it looks like, at least advertised. We have the Firefly New Sheriff in the Verse Volume 2 trade paperback coming out. Mighty Morphin 17, which is supposed to drop both a new creative team and a new direction. And as Chris and I were talking uh, earlier, we're not sure how new a new direction can get with a licensed property, much less the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. If you're writing and creating for Tokusatsu, there's pretty much set parameters that is going to be,
Hmm.
and so um, but I haven't read my preview copy, so I don't know what they tried to do with the new direction. Maybe it was a new direction. I'm not sure. But that's coming out 2, 4, 6, 8 covers on that big boy. Several Virgin variants, Chris, just so you
Yes.
know. Yes.
They're reveal virgins.
Yeah, right. So
Yes.
in a black bag, and then you buy it and open it to see what it is. That's yeah.
No, no, no.
Uh,
More on
and
that later. More on that later.
Seven Secrets, 2, 4 covers on issue 15. And Wind Volume 2, The Secret of the Wings trade paperback. I'm assuming that's a soft cover because I believe the hardcover already came out for that.
Mm, oh, I thought that was this. Oh,
Is that
maybe
the
you're right.
hardcover?
And you're looking at. I'm sorry. Which week are you looking at?
This week,
You're looking at this
16.
week. See, I've got the 16th pulled up, and like nothing you just said. Like next week
My
or the 16th says Angel, Basilisk, Faithless, Power Rangers. Doesn't say anything about Wind.
okay, let's see. Uh, well, I mean, my date up here at the top is 3/16/2022.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're
Okay,
better.
well,
That was
yeah,
weird.
I doubt that. Well, but it's Go Collect. It's the same
Yeah, that's what
people
I'm
right
looking
that
at
you're
too.
looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
So
very weird.
what do you have on the 23rd?
Oh, on the 23rd. Let's see. Next week. I don't have all my links pulled up now. Let's see. 16th. Well, um,
Boom
yeah,
extended.
it's all the extended stuff, but 2 weeks. Well, let's see. Technical
Wonder
difficulty.
why it's on
There's a
extended.
20.
Because I got an email today at noon that had the 23rd on it.
No. So yeah. So on the 23rd, it's all new Firefly. Yeah, in Power Ranger universe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've got
Oh,
on
I
what
thought we
I'm
were
looking
talking
at
about the
too.
16th.
I was talking about the 16th. I just now asked about the 23rd just
Oh
to
yeah,
see.
this is what's on. Yeah, this is what's on the 23rd.
Yeah, so 2
Firefly.
books basically.
It's gonna be a short week, folks.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're playing. We've already discussed. We're planning ahead for that. So, hey, Steven. I see you're in the chat. Thanks for
Hey,
joining us,
all
man.
right. Stephen with 2 E's.
Yeah, exactly. So, all
Well,
right.
for all of those of you that are listening, go and join his forums.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Use it.
I need to do that.
Talk comics, talk, let's see, comics, movies, TV, prose, other podcasts. I think there are
Threes,
boards
actually.
well, yeah, not in a row though. I
Steve.
there are boards set up already for all of those because Stephen and I, at the very least, have discussed all of those. So we
Yeah,
need some more
cool.
people to get some more ideas for new boards to put up to
Yeah, I need to
extend
get in
the
there.
extend the conversations on those.
Yeah, when he sent that tweet out with all that, I was like, that is great.
Mhm.
I have really been very nostalgic lately for
Uh, yes, just
early stuff like
all of that.
all of
Yeah.
our CGC forum days and all that, the comic forums and whatnot. Yeah, I've been very nostalgic for all that stuff lately.
I listen to podcasts all day because I work on a computer at work, and 3 or 4 times a day, somebody on some podcast will say something, and I'm just gone. I'm like, "Yeah, Rios and
Yep.
Deemer and Puppet
Mhm.
Rios," I'm just yeah.
Yep.
So far, I've looked up 3, I think 3 podcasts that have faded and found out that none of them were available. We talked with the panelologist guys and got them to make theirs available.
Mhm.
And there were a couple other shows that I have come up with that aren't that I've been meaning to ask to see if we can get them going. I wish, as a podcast community, we had a big um, place that we could put all shows so that you could
Oh, yeah.
always go back and get them. Almost like, well, I guess we could use the Internet Archive,
Yeah.
but somebody would have to put those shows on there, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's a very
Oh, that'd be
time-consuming process. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, but it's a shame as I listen to current podcasters who have started in the last, which is still is a long time, but they've started in the last 6 or 8 years,
Mm.
and they really don't know anything about a lot of other shows because they've faded. And unless somebody tells them, hey, this used to be out there, they have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
just the loss of interviews and
Yep.
information for books that are 10 and 15 years old now, which again, that is not that long ago. But
Oh,
boy,
yeah.
in the podcast community, that's a lifetime ago.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, especially if you just look at like CGC and Word Balloon as far as interviews go.
Oh man,
There are a lot of folks, a lot of comic creators that they interviewed that are just they're not around anymore.
They
I mean,
don't do it anymore.
yeah.
You know,
So,
Case in point, there is a gentleman that has been much in the news lately. Used to do interviews all the time, and of course, it seems that very soon he won't be giving another interview at all.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's just that's the that's the nature of the beast. I'm older than you are, Chris, and
yeah.
every day seeing people that have passed away that I remember watching in movies and TV shows, I'm
Hmm.
like, what?
Yep.
What?
Well,
So
and
yeah.
with the passing of William Hurt this
Yes,
weekend,
yeah, this weekend.
he's actually one that my son. That's the first time I've actually, well, not the first time, but my son, because of him being playing General Ross and everything in the Marvel movies, my
Yes,
son
okay,
was like, "Oh no,"
right.
like and
You know of it.
Chadwick Boseman, back when he passed
Yeah,
away, but it was like William Hurt's somebody who I watched in movies when I was younger
yeah,
ish.
for
Yes,
years and
yeah.
years, yeah,
So that was the first time he and I actually had somebody we both really enjoyed and stuff. Like,
yeah,
oh yeah. So it was, yeah. Go back and listen to that old stuff. I mean,
and yeah,
it's
to
some
to
great stuff to.
bring that back around to podcasts, there's a lot of older shows out there, if you're interested in a topic or
Mhm.
listening for someone or something like that, just ask around. A lot of us that
Oh
have
yeah.
been listening for years, will trigger something and we'll be able to tell you, "Oh, yeah, they
Hmm.
were interviewed or they talked about that book," and, we'll be able to
Yep.
dig up the show names and everything like that to point you in a direction. I mean, you gotta ask. There's
Yep.
a lot of us hanging around. Maybe we don't interact a whole lot, but we're pretty long in the tooth, and
We're,
and
we're
we
as we get older, we're a little more antisocial.
well, we pack a lot of connections.
Yep.
We can connect a lot of you folks that perhaps haven't been comic book fans quite as long,
Mm.
and so if you're interested, definitely use older, long-time fans as a resource,
Yeah.
because at some point that resource will not be available to you, and you'll miss out on being able to make that link.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Forums are an excellent place to do that because it's all written there. You can
Yep.
go back to it anytime, as long as Steven doesn't let the board go down like he did his Monty Python board. Oh no, I'm not supposed to talk about that. And but it'll be a resource that's always there. Oh, he's going to get me for that one.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, that was not kind at all.
All right.
Sorry, Stephen. I love you, man.
While we wait for Steven, let's jump into
Yeah.
solicitations.
Yikes. Okay.
So so this solicitations, these are books that are coming out in May of this year. Now, as normal, we're not going to go through and highlight every single book, but a couple things to definitely pay attention to that are up for order. The new series Grimm.
Yes.
So we've got Stephanie Phillips and Flaviano. Flaviano.
Let
I'm
me
not sure how to pronounce that,
get there. Let me take a look at it, and I'll give it a shot.
but yeah,
I would say Flaviano. Yeah.
yeah. So apparently, is currently drawing the New Mutants for Marvel. So, or
Hmm.
at least has worked on the series. So
It'll
definitely,
it'll be good to get him out of the morass that are the current X books into something
yeah,
else. Yeah.
something good. So,
Let's help rescue him.
well, yes, that's what it is. It's a rescue program.
Yeah.
So, again, with a Frizzen variant cover, foil covers. Boom is really into the foil covers
Mhm.
over the last couple of years. So
That's
some of
because you
them
people
look.
keep buying them, man.
Shut up! Shut up!
Well, it's
I
not
really
me.
don't buy the
I don't.
anyway.
You know.
So, okay, we got a new Dune miniseries, Dune: The Waters
Yes.
of Canley. So that is, and I'm pulling this up. I probably should have done a better job of how to pull those things up.
Yes, it is by Herbert and Anderson, who
Yep.
are the gentlemen that have taken over the prose writing. So it will be the same people, not an adjacent kind of
Yeah.
storyline. Illustrated by Francesco Mortorino,
Yeah.
with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 covers. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
So good stuff there. And I do enjoy that they are that they're, I guess, using the source
Mm,
of all Dune knowledge to write Dune,
right.
and
Yeah.
not and not to discredit anybody who may be very fluent in Dune, but I do think if you're looking for the closest to the source, they're pretty much it.
Well, I would hope that what it is it's an opportunity for Herbert and Anderson to further get into something
Yeah.
that they just weren't able to in the prose.
Oh yeah.
Or
That's
that in retrospect, they look back and they're like, man, we should have, and hopefully this is giving them a chance. Chris, I noticed here in the cover list, there's an FOC reveal and an FOC reveal incentive. So is that a
probably
ratio for the FOC?
the way I've seen that is that's probably what it is.
Okay.
You know, order 10 of the FOC covers and you get
Okay.
one of
On
these,
right.
that
Okay.
kind of thing. I'm not a big fan of those,
All the
just in
words, man.
general, because I feel like it's putting a little too much pressure on the retailer to order that specific cover.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so and like for this one, I mean, this cover's a nice looking cover. Don't get me wrong, but it's is that the cover that they want to order? That kind of thing. So
Right.
yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of doing it, and they're putting the FOC in the previews and not waiting until the book is FOC'd. So there's a reason that they want you to be ordering this.
Hmm.
They're giving you way lots of lead time,
Right. Yeah.
to do that. So
What is unlockable?
unlockable is just when I think with Boom it is you order a minimum number just in general. So it could be if they have four covers and you order, enough that the total of those four covers is whatever that unlockable number is,
Okay.
then you can then order that particular cover as many copies as you want.
And is that information only given as far as what the number is that you have to surpass? Is that
It's
only given to retailers?
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because I don't because I've looked a little bit into that like long time ago,
Mhm.
and because I didn't really understand what it was, and again, how I'm describing it is an older info, so they
Oh,
may have changed it, but
okay.
that's how it was explained to me 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
That kind of thing. So it's a little more difficult to get it if your retailer only orders less, a handful of books,
Right.
copies or whatever.
Right.
But if you go to a bigger store, like for me, Ultimate Comics is a much bigger store, bigger Boom
Ultimate
Studios, or yeah, they'll
Midtown,
yeah,
um,
Midtown for sure. Yeah, if you're online.
maybe
Um,
DCBS or
mhm. Well, I don't
Westfield
know if
or
DCBS would be able to do the unlockables because you're having to order that at previews, and you can't do usually
oh, okay.
unlockable. Well, lately, I'll say lately, most unlockables are probably not in previews, because it's sort of a you don't know if you're actually going to be able to get it or not.
Right.
And if
Okay.
so if like DCBS, like I got stuck with this with a Marvel thing, where I was buying the variant covers um, for the whatever the new Fantastic Four story, the
Mhm.
Reckoning thing.
The
So
Reckoning
that
War.
the one shot for that had three covers listed, and they were all regular price. They were all equal, no ratios or whatever. And they decided, later on that one of them was going to be a ratio cover. Why? I don't know. Not that I care. I mean I do because I didn't get it, but at the same time, you know, it's their right to be able to do that.
Right. Yeah.
If I didn't know to not buy it or order it, then I wouldn't have ordered it. And if it then became available because it was an unlockable cover, um, to then find out about it, yeah, I would have, paid a little extra to get it. But um, so I don't think unlockables can be in the previews. It may. I don't want to say. I don't never want to say never. So I don't understand things. This is all new to me. House of Slaughter #6. The only reason I bring this one up is because it's a new story arc.
Yay.
So we get Edwin Slaughter. He's one of the Scarlet Masks. So one of the bookkeepers for the Order of St. George. So we're getting a little. We're getting into the area that you and I were hoping this series would be.
Yes.
As much as I like the fact that we got to know a little more about Aaron, we've talked about this ad nauseum already, but I felt like we already knew Aaron. We didn't know a lot about him, but we knew Aaron. Um, and I was kind of hoping this series was gonna explore more of the house, and so now we're getting that. And maybe they use the Aaron story arc to sort of transition a little bit from something is killing to that kind of
Yeah.
thing, something
It's
familiar to kind of get you into it, and that's fine, whatever. Um, so yeah, now I'm kind of all right. We're where I'm hoping the series was going to go, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. And there's a lot of covers for that, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. As you would expect. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like trades and stuff like that, a trade paperback for that is being solicited. $20 for it. I highly
Yeah.
recommend it if you have not read Maul
I
before.
I would be interested in talking to someone that gets this and reads all of that in one sitting.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because we had the benefit, and for me, it was a benefit of having that spread out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I talked with somebody on TikTok of all places. I talked to them a little, or exchanged messages with them about that because they had talked about Maul. I think they had only read the first two issues and
okay.
were sort of, and it was a guy too, and so he was, his reaction was a lot like ours, which was interesting to see. Someone who I didn't know, didn't know anything from Adam, but it was sort
Right.
of we've landed about the same spot, and that was kind of interesting. So I shared that with him, and I said, yeah, so it's really odd, not odd, but it's almost comforting that we all landed on the same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting at the very least that, whatever baggage we carry, um, our thoughts were very similar on something
Mhm.
like that. Yeah, certainly.
There's a Getting Dizzy trade paperback, $15. I would recommend that one for sure.
Good fun story. Yeah,
Yep.
that and it's funny in the listing following up Mall with Getting Dizzy because they
Yeah,
are
I'm
about
sorry about that.
as opposite ended of the uh, spectrum of topic and subject matter that you can get.
Maybe I should have said like, here's
So
Alice Ever After, here's
yeah,
Firefly,
try,
and
try so
now.
yeah, try to ease it. It's like boom or mall, and then getting dizzy. Yeah, it's either way though. They're both available in trade and both
Yep.
um, worth reading in different ways and for different reasons. But
Hmm.
they're both very entertaining for what they do and what they are.
Yep. And then that's really it as far as like big stuff coming out. I mean, obviously we're getting Something Is Killing number 23.
Yeah, you got your
Seven.
standards.
Yeah, I mean those are your go-tos anyway. But not a lot of stuff on Boom's list for May, which is interesting. Now I know that they've been pretty. I mean, we have new books, we have new series. Graham, we've got new, but they're sort of sticking with this. They've got their sort of ongoing, titles and stuff like that, and then they've got these series that are 4, 5, 6 issues or whatever, and they've,
And that's
you
it.
know,
Yeah,
I
that's
I I feel good about that because they turn around and do trade paperbacks and stuff like that, and get them out there in front of you again. But yeah, just for some reason, this May solicit so far seems a little light. So I'm kind of curious, uh, I mean, even from a trade paperback hardcover perspective, I mean, let's see, the only other trade is see Getting Dizzy, and then you've got the Magic Volume 2 hardcover, which would be a good one to get. Um, and then you've got, let's see, the Power Ranger Volume 4 trade, and that's it. So you've got like 4 or 5 trades, a hardcover, and, you know, 2 new series.
go
So,
to the Jim Henson Storyteller
oh yeah.
listing and blow up that A cover for me.
Oh, that's B.
That is a beautiful cover,
Mm-hmm.
and that creature behind the girl is the namesake for my male cat. That's a
Oh, okay.
that's a kitsune. I would
Cool.
assume now it's only showing one tail. Kitsunes have 9 tails, but
Oh, so
because
that's a 9 tail. Okay.
yeah, I'm
Yep.
I'm assuming that this is an Eastern female, and that could be an assumption. And the fox, yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like a fox, so I'm assuming
Oh, it
that's a
says it right here.
kitsune.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So
says it
yeah.
right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that grabbed my eye right away. That's a beautiful beautiful cover.
That is really nice.
M Niwa. So
Yes.
and it's
Niwa is doing the writing, and
yeah,
then
it's written
also
and
doing the
illustrated.
art. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
cover is just by Franny.
that was
That
was
did
that the
that cover. Yeah.
same one? No, the story that we're looking at had two different people, but this is the same person.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, that cover just really struck me.
Yeah. That is really nice. So, all right, cool, 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 cool. Lots of fun stuff. So I probably won't do this every episode, and so I kind of gave Ed a little preview of this, but I have I'm back to drinking the Boom Studios Kool-Aid from a
Go,
fountain at
go
this
ahead,
point.
flex for us, man. Come on, come on.
So maybe
Let's see it.
not
Come on.
every episode I'll do this, but I do want to show some recent pickups. I am doing variant covers now, so I had shared. Let's see if I can get this in my camera right. So this is Basilisk number 6. This is one of the variant covers I got for that. That one's pretty sweet. When I saw that on the shelf, I was
Is
like,
that a foil cover or is that what
no,
you've got it in?
that is a regular
Okay,
cover.
okay.
Let
You've
me
got it in a mylar.
It's just in the bag and board that the shop had it in.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's cover B.
Look,
So
guys, it's not slabbed. This is
it's
what a real comic book looks like. Did you see that?
it-
In the
it's
wild,
amazing.
this is what they look like.
It's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
So put that over there. Obviously got Basilisk number 6. I some reason missed that one, so I picked that one up.
Hmm.
Obviously got Seven Secrets that came out. Speaking of Maw,
Uh-oh.
I did pick up 2 Maw variants. So
Yeah, now some of those got
this
pretty, yeah.
yeah, that one's not that gruesome. So, and I don't, not even, I
Pretty,
haven't even looked.
pretty intense though.
Yeah, but it's
All
a
those
nice.
variants were pretty intense.
Oh yeah, I have a bunch of them for the first issue. This is, what issue is this? Oh, this is 5. So this is like the cover B, I think. Which I thought I had looked at all the different covers. I didn't remember seeing this one. But that is I really dig that cover. And this is, before I show it to you, let me take a quick look. I apologize for not already having this stuff prepared. But this is book. This is issue 4. This is cover. I'm again assuming cover B, but that one is.
That's nice.
Yeah, that one's a nice one. Trying to keep the glare off of as much as I can.
Chris, is that a Virgin cover?
No, the
Oh,
one right
okay.
here.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say.
I had to look before, right as I was like lifting it up. I was like, wait a second.
Okay.
So that
All
can't be
right.
cover B.
Yep.
So, and then so I did go ahead and
Okay.
buy the first issue of that, and then bought the subsequential variants. That bag will never be opened. If for those of you who don't know, these are some
Oh,
more
that's the
risque
adult
covers.
cover.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I am not opening this book, but I did want to have all the, I like to collect things, and then obviously picked up the other one for that one. So,
Okay.
so it's one of those things you feel very awkward. I am not a prude person by any stretch of the imagination.
Hey.
But even going up to the counter and paying for these, I was kind of like, "Hey, how's it going?" And the guy who sold them to me, like, he pulled them out of a box, going, "Would you like these?" And I'm kind of like, I have just sat here and spent 20 minutes telling you about how I'm going to buy variant covers. Sure, why not? So yeah, so definitely, I have gone all in on buying at least all the creator-owned stuff, as much as the variants as I can. I am not buying store variants. Um, I don't like you people because so many of you make them. So, and
Yeah.
it's not a I hate you or anything like that. It's like I don't have that much money.
Yeah.
I'm
It's very difficult reining yourself in
yes,
once you start doing. You're like, well, I've got 8 and there's only 10,
right,
so I only need 2 more, and it's like, yeah, but they're
yeah,
$500 a piece, dog.
right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So that process for me, I made that decision before I decided to jump into this.
yeah,
I'm
that's rough.
only buying the ones that I'm staying away from the ratio covers unless I can get them super, super cheap, like less than $10, like super cheap.
Less than 10. Wow, that's yeah.
Which means I probably won't get any of them.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say even
that's
a 1 in 10 for less than 10 is gonna
yeah.
be
So
tough to come by.
intentional by doing it that way. And then it's like, but then yeah, all the other ones you can get for cover price, so it's not a big deal. So I just have to pace myself. That's all.
So you're
So
gonna be hitting up all the available auctions to see if you can get some of these variants at less
I
than 10.
am I am doing. I
Instagram,
did
TikTok, Facebook,
well. When we
WhatsApp, WhatsApp, this, that,
what's
yeah, whatever they're
what's up?
called. Yeah.
When we decided to do Midas Flesh, which we'll be doing next episode, folks, just in case you are wondering. Uh, but when I had to go back and buy those off of mycomicshop.com, um, I just bought one of every cover that they had.
Okay.
And so I didn't, so not every issue I have multiple covers, but the ones that I do, at least 2 of the books were, I bought all of them for like $2 or
Oh
250
yeah,
or
off
something
of
like
there.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But 2 of them were like either 1 in 10s or 1 in 20s from
Oh
back
really?
then. Yeah, just
Wow,
for
okay.
like dirt cheap. I was just
I
like,
thought
I
all
didn't
they
know
had
it
were
when I
just the
bought it.
A's and B's.
Well, yeah, some of them, like issue 1, I ended up getting like 3 or 4 different covers.
And
And they have a bunch for that issue.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think that was the only one. Yeah, it had 8 covers, everybody else just had 2.
Yeah.
So, they had con covers and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff for the
Yeah.
first issue of that, which at the time, I don't remember that being the case. I don't know if we didn't look correctly or
I remember buying a few of them. I just didn't remember how many. I didn't
mm,
think there was that many, but yeah, that's some That's a lot. Yeah. So, but yeah, it. Now that I'm sort of paying a little more attention to it, I really haven't paid that much attention, other than when we go over FOCs and
Right.
previews and stuff like that. I don't pay too much beyond that. Now that I'm diving into that, paying attention to the ratios and stuff like that, and going, okay, I can't buy any of this. Yeah. So with like Something Is Killing the Children 21 coming up, like there's probably, including store variants, probably 30 or 40 covers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and they're all like $14, 15, $20 a piece. So it's just like, yeah, nah. I really like that series. Don't get me wrong. I do. You and I talk about it, whenever a new issue comes out, and neither
yep.
one of us really have anything bad to say about it. Um, so we're big fans, but yeah, I can't justify that kind of purchase.
No,
It's
not
no
not
fun at that point.
not that many. Now, I mean, if you're in a situation and they have 6 or 8 covers and they're all $15 a piece, maybe the one that you like best, just to
Maybe,
get one
yeah,
of them,
yeah.
but yeah, you can't.
Well,
Uh,
it's like you've always said, you got to have fun with it.
yeah, that's
And that just made me stress. Just the thought of it just made me stress. Like
there's going to be how many covers?
I wasn't
Oh
even trying to buy
no.
any of them. That's like, as soon as
Yeah,
I got on League of Comic Geeks website and sort of like looked to see, oh, I'm just curious, how many covers are we going to have? And I'm looking for like the publisher releasing covers,
right. Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
just this massive, screen filled of covers. I was just
all
like
those
my
store
heart
covers.
started to race. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack just sitting here looking at this. Like, I'm not buying these things. So,
Yep.
uh, all right. So with all that being said, I will try and do that from time to time. I do, especially if I get some of the more harder to find stuff from some of the older series and everything. That's what I'm gonna try and do. I'll be sure to at least show them, on here on the YouTube, video, so folks can come check that stuff out. As far as all of you who are listening on our audio, sorry,
Yeah, it's
we showed a lot of covers. How's
we're,
that?
we're we're using the visual aspect of the medium at the moment, so
Yeah,
it's
we have to
yeah.
give some
Sorry. That's
incentive for folks to come watch
yeah.
watch us when we talk. So let's dive into some comics. What do you
All
want to
right.
talk about?
Let's look at Buckhead number 4.
Cool.
That whoops. Doo, 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 doo. Do this and do this and do this. That comes to us from Shobo is the writer. The artist is George Camadias, lettered by Jim Campbell, designed by Grace Park in general, but the video game homage logo designer was Julian Crabb. Now, if I butchered any of those names, I apologize. Someone in the know greater than I, please correct me if so. This will come up greatly with whomever talks about Jim Henson's Storyteller, because it is rife with Irish Gaelic names in that one that I actually looked up and
Oh, you
listened to how to
did.
pronounce those. Yes,
Good
yes.
job.
I actually did some homework
And I am leaving that one to you then.
to not butcher that one up. But so here in Buckhead, we have Toba, who is the main character, and we have his Scooby gang of Darshall, Mel, Romy, and Shadow, who is the dog. It's always good to have an animal
Oh,
companion.
for sure.
Um, uh, the other day, just I went down a rabbit hole and I looked up what's his name, Crypto, Superman's
Oh
companion,
yeah.
or actually Superboy's companion.
Hmm.
Man, he has a lot of appearances. I had no idea. I was like, dude, 70, 80, 90 different issues that he's been in.
Dog's been around.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, Josu and Iwan are a couple of the bad guys who they don't really play too big a part specifically in issue 4. Now, overall, they do because they're still there and they're still uh, being bad guys. So here, Shoba and the Scooby Gang have they determined last issue pretty much what was going on, came up with a plan, and the plan was kind of a two-pronged kind of thing. One was for Toba to infiltrate electronically, because this story is kind of occurring on two planes, if you will. One is the prime material plane, for those of you that are D&D fans. That's the real world, or RL, I think as the kids call it. And the other is kind of a, well, it's not kind of, but it's a artificial, and yeah, the VR. It's a virtual reality world that Toba's mom and dad, specifically his dad, was responsible for designing. And Toba unknowingly, but Toba has played there as well. And we find out in this issue, and I think it's kind of a newer finding out as far as the story, but Toba has been, there's also a time element to the story.
Hmm.
And so future aspects of Toba have played in the virtual reality world, which is the only world that Toba's father exists on. And I think that's it. I don't think his mother really exists anywhere at all anymore. I believe
No, no, I
she's
don't think
been,
so.
yeah, she's been taken from him. So, but his dad is still alive on this in this virtual reality world,
Mm.
and he lets Toba know, which the contemporary part of the story of Buckhead occurs now as we're reading it. But part of their plan is for Toba to go there to try to accomplish some things in this issue. And in talking with his dad kind of is confused as to which Toba this is.
Hmm.
And as far as we know, this is the only Toba. This is the same Toba we've been following since the beginning of the series. But apparently, there is a time element in that in the future, which is, I guess, kind of a spoiler. Toba also visits to do some things in order to accomplish some other things, almost like whatever is going on is almost like an ongoing thing in the future. And Toba is still attempting to uh, fix or correct or solve some issues that are going on. So his dad was confused as to whether this is are you the future what things have you done already, basically, is
Right.
what he's asking
Yeah.
him to try to keep straight which Toba this was, which I was kind of surprised by, because I hadn't necessarily picked up that they were using any kind of time element in the story. But I mean, it makes perfect sense in that you're dealing with a virtual reality world. There,
Hmm.
in essence, there is no time. It just is,
Yeah.
so so that's one part of the plan that they came up with. The other part, the other prong of this attack against the bad guys, is a real world attack on some equipment to take out the equipment and hamstring the bad guys from doing certain things in the real world, and
Hmm.
thus make elements of the real world much easier for the people and much tougher on the bad guys. And then there was this element of Toba in the virtual reality world going to secure a sword
Yeah.
to be used in the virtual reality world, not to bring that across to our world, but to attack the bad guy there in the virtual reality world. Now, they find out, Toba and crew, that the they already knew coming into this issue that the main bad was in the virtual reality world. They found out this issue that part of the overall plan is for that virtual reality uh, entity to cross over into the real world and kind of stop trying to cause trouble in the virtual reality world, because if he can cause those same issues in the real world, the virtual reality world will kind of take care of itself as far as being able to dominate it. So he's turned his attention to uh, becoming real, becoming
Hmm.
corporeal, whatever, you know, fancy word you
Very
want to.
Agent Smith kind of thing.
Yes, yes. So they found out this issue, that that's kind of what the evil is going to do, and I think that probably is going to be the culmination. There's only one more issue left in the story, and it looks like that Toba will come back to the uh, prime material world along with his Scooby Gang and attempt to defeat the bad guy there
Mhm.
in the real world. And so that's very very loose what happens in the story. I don't, other than the main bad wanting to cross over, I don't think to my mind that there were any like big revelations or
No.
big answers or anything like that. That time element was kind of interesting, but that was those were the main things that I got from the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Sort of the I guess the twist, if you want to say that, that he's trying to cross over was, it made sense. Like it was one of those things. Yeah, of course that's a thing he wants to do. Um, it's interesting that we're getting that at the end of issue 4, and
It's
it's a 5 issue
it's rather
miniseries.
late, I thought, but yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think either one of us have had an issue with the pacing of this series so far.
Mhm.
So that's kind of an interesting thing to do. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it should have. Well, I mean, sort of like in my limited knowledge of how to put a story together, you would kind of want to put that reveal a little bit earlier because you need sort of space to tell that story. In it being the last issue, it'll be, I'm curious to see how it wraps up.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
How quickly, or maybe this is a situation where this is a part one,
right. Yeah.
and there, so.
And I am kind of curious if it is. I'm all on board
Oh
for a
yeah,
sequel to this. I've
yeah.
really enjoyed it.
This is another one of those stories that appeals to, I think, different age levels at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, and I always, or in my head, I always think about things like a lot of people now who watch cartoons aren't aware of this, but when I was a kid, Bugs Bunny cartoons were the epitome of juvenile slapstick,
Oh
but
yeah.
adult humor because of things like classical music that they brought in and classical
Hmm.
opera and things like. So I always liked those stories. Dizzy was like this too. I felt not the more adulty side of Dizzy. I don't think was as adulty as Buckhead is,
Right. Yeah.
but that element was there. It's like the creator is writing to entertain younger people,
Hmm.
but they are also making the attempt to entertain older, more, shall we say, calloused people, who are
Right. Yeah.
used to the more juvenile aspects. And it's like, well, I've seen that for years, and
Yeah.
so they are introducing things such as in Buckhead, this whole concept of this virtual reality world and things like that.
Hmm.
Overall, that's a newer concept. I mean, science fiction has played with it for years and years, but I mean,
Right.
it it can actually happen now. I
Yeah.
mean, this
It's
is,
very metaverse. Yeah.
and the first thing that they thought about the device that the big bad is using to cross over is they thought it was a 3D printer, and I was like, that's very now. I mean,
Exactly.
that's wow. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been fun, and I mean, I will attribute this series, it being the first time I have paid attention to George Camdias's art. Um, and I think we've talked about this. And you and I may have only just sort of you and I talking about it, not on the show, but I know he is going to be working on Dynamite's new John Carter series.
Oh, okay.
And when I saw that at first, I thought it was just on covers, and I was like, oh, well, that's good. That'll be interesting to see what he does. No, he's doing the interior as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
And
that'll be,
so
yeah.
and I'm a John Carter fan. Dynamite, hit or miss on what's going on there, but they've all been entertaining, and so I'm just looking to be entertained when it
You
comes to
just
that.
like looking at Deja Thoris, man. Come on.
I'm gonna tell if the
You and John
cover
Lovelace. That's,
if
yeah.
the cover would reflect what is actually in the book, I mean that's the oh
Yeah.
god, don't even get me started on that. That's just the most annoying thing in the world. I get that but even if you go back to the original covers of the novels. And,
Novels. Oh man, yeah.
jeez. Anyway, uh, I am
Yeah,
so
sci-fi
sick
at
of
its
that.
height, that
Yeah,
art by people like, the name that I threw out last week or the week before, Boris Vallejo.
yeah, yeah.
You know, that he is one of the artists that was doing those covers
Hmm.
for the novels, anthology magazines, Asimov, and things like that. So yeah,
Yeah. But
very
he's
much like the covers that are made fun of for those books
oh
now.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's like, well, but once upon a time, that was the only pictures you had of that
yeah.
character, unless short of the picture you made in your head from reading it.
Hmm.
It's like, well, and that was in a lot of ways much more risque than anything that they're putting on
Well,
the,
yeah.
you know. So
Not 10-year-old Chris. 10-year-old Chris, when he first started reading Warlord
oh
of Mars, that is
no,
not what I imagined at all.
no, no.
uh,
And anybody that thought that, clean up your mind,
yeah, seriously. Um,
free your mind. Don't
I
be so
was
shallow.
I was reading all kinds of stuff at a young age. Conan and Warlord of Mars and
Oh wow.
Tarzan. I was reading all these novels.
The black and white Conan magazine.
My grandparents would take me to the mall, to the bookstore that was at the mall, and it was like, "What would you like to buy?" And I would. They didn't actually talk this way or use their hand that way, but it was like, what do you want? And I would gravitate immediately to those three. To
To heavy metal.
no, not to have no, like the actual novels, man. Those actual
Metal
novels.
Metal Hermit.
Although I do like me some heavy metal. There's some good stuff
That's
in there.
and
So,
there
but anyway,
can be. Yep.
so the artwork in this series has been great. I mean, and I've only appreciated it more as we've gone forward. I think at first, not having been really familiar with his work,
Mhm.
it it sort of gave me a Chris Bocciolo kind of Scotty Young feel to it, but it
Kinda,
definitely
but
not
it's
definitely not like aping it by any
right.
stretch.
No, no.
But it sort of had that, I don't know, I got that sort of tone to it. But that was just sort of first glance. Now that I've gotten 4 issues into this, you know, I am I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff that he does. So I'm definitely keeping an eye out, you know, for other books. And so, yeah, it works out for me that he's doing a John Carter series. But if he was doing a
There you go.
Lobo series, I would be picking that up too, just to check out his stuff. I know it's Lobo, but it was a bad example. But yeah,
Only if it's written by Keith Giffen. I don't know.
okay, that works for me. Because that's a
With
creator. That's a creator that I would pick up anyway. So
Simon Beasley covers. So
I
there you
think
go.
we have a winner here,
Yeah, I
folks.
was going to say
Like,
hey, where do we sign
yeah,
that we
we
put this together, man?
we
We
need to
you know
do
we
this.
some kickback for getting these people together on this.
That would be great. I'd be all for that. So, uh, let's move on to the next book. We have not talked about Magic in a while.
Okay.
The series Magic the Gathering. I'm letting you talk about storytellers
Okay.
because that's your book. And you said you did research. I want to make sure
I
that you
yes, I
you get
actually
talking.
did research.
You get, and I only bring up Magic because we've just not talked about it in a long time. And I've not read it in a while, so that's another reason. But 12, I decided to just try it. No reason, didn't read a solicitation, didn't do anything. I just saw it was a short week, and I was like, all right, sure, let's read Magic and see what's going on. And it's not a perfect jumping on point by any stretch. Like this is a new story arc or whatever. It's a continuation of what's been going on. You can definitely feel that, but I do feel it's a lot different from what I had read early on in the first story arc or so, and so I felt that it was a good jumping on point, at least for me. So I'm probably going to read the next couple of issues because I felt like it was a good spot for me. So I don't know if it is for any of you if you've not been reading it. Uh, you know, be interested in checking it out and stuff like that. But 12 was kind of the thing. It's written by Jed McKay, who is getting a lot of work over at Marvel right now. Um, and I think has made Black Cat probably one of the most deserving characters of a series in a while.
Relevant, is that what you're trying to say?
Relevant, that's the word.
Relevant?
Um, and I applaud him for that. I'm trying to think of what else he's got a couple other things. I can't think off the top of my head what else he's got. I think he just. Oh, I apologize. There's a he's writing a couple of things over there right
It's
now.
alright. I'll look it up and see if I
So
can
while
find
you're
it.
looking at that, it's illustrated by Jack Solomon, colored by a bunch of people. I'm not going to attend. There's like 8 people on this thing. So a bunch of folks on there. I don't want to say I know why, but they jump around. So it's not one person on you know 2 or 3 straight pages. And then lettered by Ed Dukeshire and multiple covers on here as we've talked about before. Magic likes to have their variants. Designer is Grace Park. So that's
Alright, I have some McKay info if
okay.
you
Cool.
Moon Knight.
Yes, that
Um,
stupid. I'm reading that.
he wrote the Devil's Reign Moon Knight.
hmm
He's writing the new Strange book,
And I just picked up the first issue of that too. Yeah.
which
Uh,
was it was a portrayal of Clea that I don't believe we've really seen before. So
that's-
that was cool.
I thoroughly enjoyed that issue. Yeah.
Spider-Man, let's see, Spider-Verse, Spider Zero, that's older.
Yeah, it's older stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, several Spider-Man trades. Actually, the page that I'm looking at doesn't say anything about Black Knight. It just has Strange and Moon Knight, or Black Cat, I mean.
Oh,
So
really? Wow.
I wonder if
Well,
that series is over, maybe, or
well,
what's
the way Black Cat has been running is it says it's an ongoing. It'll run for 5 or 6 or 8 issues or whatever, and then it'll come back with like a one shot or something to that effect, or an annual, and then it'll
okay,
sort of restart at a new number one. So it's a continuating story. It's
okay.
just however they want to solicit it and market it to get people to check it out.
Yeah,
It's
here's
worth it.
Black
Trust me.
Cat. Let's see what else. A couple others here. The Amazing Spider-Man. Avengers Mech Strike.
Oh yeah, his second volume of that miniseries is out now.
Right. Apparently, he has written some of the Avengers, the current volume,
hmm
the most recent Taskmaster series.
Yep,
He
that was
had
great.
at least a story in the Wolverine Black, White, and Blood
hmm
mini,
Yep.
and the Marvel Digital original Daughters of the Dragon, which
Oh, nice.
again, or not again, but is more female characters. So
Yep.
apparently, he is one of these creators that does really well with female characters.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, what I've read so far of his stuff, and he's just one of those guys. Like I kind of forgot that he was working on Strange, but I mean, with
Mhm.
Clea, that was a great issue.
That was it was very fun,
Didn't know
seeing
what to expect from that,
yeah,
so it
that
was good.
that was cool. I liked that first issue.
So he's been writing Magic since the beginning of the series. The reason I, again, sort of picked this up and think it's a good sort of jumping on point. I mean, this is so the series. This issue is about 3 planeswalkers, and again, me being an old card game player, but a Magic reading book noob. Um, you know how a planeswalker in the series as compared to the card game, I couldn't tell you. But so there's 3 of them in this story, and it's sort of this like they're preparing, they're hanging out together at this point in this issue, and they're sort of trading stories and what they're planning on doing, what their goals are and stuff like that. So it's a table conversation, and the issue ends with Ravine, who's this character that they keep referring to that they all want to find. You find out a little bit more about that and sort of where they are and sort of what they've got going on at the end of this issue. So obviously it's a good sort of setup to what's coming and a good, I guess, introduction to characters that you may. I mean, again, these characters could have been all throughout issues 11 or 10 or 9 or whatever like that, but I don't know that not having read them, and I feel like this issue sort of laid those characters out nicely, and so I know them enough as we get into whatever's next with 13 issue 13, that I'm at least as a newer reader I'm comfortable jumping into the next issue, and I think that's what you want with every issue that you write, is something that makes a reader, whether they're somewhat familiar or completely new to the series, um, to get them involved and want to read the next issue. This issue didn't blow me away by any magic. I mean, there wasn't huge reveals, because all that would have been wasted on me. But it was an entertaining and fun book. The art's good. It's solid. Um, I just want to see a little bit more, in the next issue. So I finally, we had talked about when issues 2 and 3 or whatever 4 came
Mhm.
out. I was like, I don't know what I don't. It looks great, but I just don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what the story is. Um, I kind of feel a little more comfortable, and so yeah, I'll be checking out 13 and then moving forward and see if I keep reading it. And it probably is also because I've been reading more of McKay's stuff over at Marvel. It it just sort of has I don't want to say a familiar feel to it, but it sort of has that I don't know, it's just I don't know. I feel comfortable reading it. It's not over the top, it's not trying to outdo itself or anything like that. It's just solid storytelling, and then go from there. So yeah. So if as always, it's one of those things. If you're into this series and I sound like a babbling moron about it, let me know. I mean, kind of point me in the right direction. Hey, should I, do I need to go back and reread some older stuff, or just read some of the previous issues to get a better feel for what's going on? Or do you think how I felt about it? This is a good enough jumping on point for people who haven't been reading the
You
series.
need to play the game for the last 13 years, man.
I mean, it's yeah, maybe. All right, moving on to I guess storytellers.
Sure. Jim Henson's Storyteller Shapeshifter, issue 1. Story by Andre Fertino, art by Nori Rutherford, colors by Kieran Quigley, letters by Jim Campbell, spot illustrations by Sunny Liu, and designed by Madison Goyer or Goyette. I apologize, Madison, for not knowing which of those. I should by this
We'll
point
get it
because I
right one of
say
these
your
days.
name very frequently, but I work to find out how to pronounce these other things, but I'm still not sure how to pronounce your name, and I apologize. I'll try to find out. Um, this cover A struck me, and I was like, "Huh, something about that." And I went on reading the book, and about halfway through the book, it dawned on me. Um, my wife and I podcast about Thor, and we just recorded an episode yesterday. Yesterday, and this cover is by Mike Del Mundo,
Oh yeah.
who is the main Thor artist for the current Thor books that we're covering on the show.
Oh okay.
And so I had just, and over the course of recently, as we've been recording those episodes, I've been reading his art in the Thor book
Mhm.
when he was on it. So took me a minute. I knew something was familiar, and I'm like, who? What is that? I don't know.
I
It'll dawn on
know
me.
you. I know who
Yeah.
you are.
Anymore to remember something, I have to not think about it, and then I remember it. I'm
There you go.
not sure how that works. Okay, so the story opens, and this is common with all of the storyteller uh, books. It as a Jim Henson production. This is based on a television series that they had, and it's an older gentleman who sits and he tells stories, if to no one else than to the dog laying at his feet, his companion dog, which I also dug into because I couldn't find his name, and I thought for sure he had a name, and he does. It's dog. So there we go.
And there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, very descriptive. So in the case of storytellers, dog can talk. It's not always been the case. In his original appearance, I don't think dog could talk. Maybe
Hmm.
he could, but I don't remember that. So to open shapeshifters, Dog has finally decided that he needs to help his human companion keep up with all these stories that he tells him. So he brings him a journal that he can write the stories in.
I'm sorry. Can I interrupt you just for a quick second?
Yes, go ahead.
About the storyteller and the dog.
Okay.
Are these the same ones in at the beginning of Fraggle Rock?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. That just I don't know why that just popped in my head.
I'm pretty sure they're the same characters. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he is telling the story of the Fraggles, and then
Mm-hmm.
we see them in reality. I
Yep.
believe these are the same characters. I'd
Okay.
have to look to make sure, but
Yeah,
yeah,
same here. Yeah, but just for whatever reason that popped in my head. I was just like,
yeah,
oh,
that
wait a
hadn't dawned
second.
on me, but
It's
yeah,
Jim
yeah.
Henson. Yeah, I mean, so
And it's about time for Boom to put out another Fraggle Rock.
I
Actually,
totally agree.
they haven't done so in a while, and I wish that they would put out some more of the General Muppet stuff. I believe they were the last people to have that license. So
Mhm.
okay.
Yes, I am. Sorry
So
about
no, it's okay. So in doing this, the storyteller is reminded of a story. And this story is about the Tuatha De Danann, who is a classic Irish uh, legend. This is where here in the West we derive a lot of our fairy tales, not fairy tales, but tales of fairies. The Tuatha De Danann is a race from antiquity, but they have been interpreted modernly as being fairies. And this is the story of the king for that race, and his name is Lord Lear. He has 4 kids. Now, as yeah, I went on a thing actually in the most recent Thor about this kind of thing. Uh, well, anyways, this is a story about these 4 kids not having their dad. He's an absentee parent. He's the king of these peoples, and he is more concerned with conquest in that it will solidify his legacy um, rather than raising his 4 children. And his 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. And we have Fiona, who is the female. We have A, which in the story is spelled Aodh, but it's pronounced A as far as I could tell. See, like minds thinking alike, Doug. I was thinking the same thing about Fraggle Rock. Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Fiacra, who's one of the boys, and Cone, who's the other boy. They're twins. They're the youngest two, and then we have A, who is the middle, and then we have Fiona, who is the oldest. So we see uh, 3 different reflections of their father being an absentee parent. Primarily, we see it from the aspect of Fiona and as a foil for her, uh, how A views it. Fiona has taken to wanting to be just like her dad. So she trails him as much as she can, following as he's setting up his war and his battles and his maps with the moving things to keep straight where everybody is and all this kind of stuff. The other 3 boys just want to be age appropriate boys. Ultimately, they perturb the dad enough, King Lear, that he asks his brother to Um, well, actually, he asks his brother to act as the quote unquote king while he just focuses on conquering, adding territory to the land of the Tuatha De Danann, and cementing his legacy. Almost every time he appears in the story, he talks about his legacy. So that's a big thing for him. Um, Meanwhile, the uncle acquiesces and probably even agrees to raising the kids, more importantly, but also he is the steward over everything else having to do with the king other than conquest. Come to a point that the uncle sees an opportunity to cement his legacy by getting rid of the kids, and then he will come back and get rid of the sitting king, and he will become king with no one to oppose him because he has no children. Um, I guess he's not quite as concerned about legacy because with no
No.
family, when he dies, then that's But so that is the main thrust of the story is the uncle's attempt to get rid of the children. What occurs to the children? That is where the shape shifting aspect of the story comes in. I was kind of caught off guard because I was thinking, particularly with the story opening with the Tuatha De Danann and fairydom, that shape shifting is a large part of um, their story. So much so that there is a fairy creature whose sole existence is to take the place of human children, assume their form, and the human child is usually either sold or consumed by the fairy creatures. Um, and I'm trying to think of the name of that creature, and it's not coming to me. But that is not where they went with this story. Um, to me, the shape shifting aspect in the story was almost an aside, even though the main thrust I thought of the story was going to be shape shifting. It's in the title of the book, but it seemed to be adjacent that they used shape shifting in this story because in his attempt to kill the children, the uncle, and I keep throwing out his name is Dane. The uncle casts a spell, and the spell doesn't necessarily get rid of the children. I don't know necessarily if that's what I thought that that's what he was trying to do is just kill the children,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it didn't. It turned them into another creature, and hence the shape shifting. And they lived as that creature for a very, very long time. At one point, there is a thousand years thrown out, which the Tuatha De Danann are long lived. So, I mean, that's not surprising, but just that this quick one issue story would encompass, a
Yeah.
thousand years or more. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
that's a long time. Um, come back. They find a way back into themselves, so to speak, as the children of the former king, um, to exact their revenge on their uncle. There's another aspect of the shape shifting that comes into play there, and uh, ultimately, the resolution I thought was appropriate.
Mhm.
I was kind of disappointed in the final disposition of the children. I mean, they really are uh, the the opportunity to be who and what they are is completely taken away from them by the end of the story between being changed into another creature and then the final denouement of the story itself. I kind of felt bad for the kids there, but it was an appropriate ending. The good guys won and the bad guys lost. So um, overall, I thought it was an enjoyable story. I'm curious to see what else they do with the shape shifting theme. This kind of seemed kind of, I don't know, they used shape shifting, yes, but I didn't think they used it as well as the concept could have been used.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think of shape shifting kind of as a back and forth, almost a multiple time kind of thing, something like that. Whereas this
Yeah.
was a poof, you're no longer human. A thousand years later, it was like, well, that's you're using shape shifting kind of just as an aside to the story, not
Yeah. It's very
as
loose. Yeah.
yeah, not as the story. So I'll be interested to see what else they come up with as far as that theme for other stories. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy this issue. Yeah, and it's one of those things you have to kind of keep in mind that these things are one and dones for the most part,
mhm,
and so you kind of have to, you know, be kind of prepared for that. That yeah, these issues are going to somewhat wrap up kind of not quickly, but the stories, you got to tell a quick story, and
Right.
I
There
was
is a
kind of
finality to it.
I was impressed that there was so much into this issue or into this story itself. Um, like I didn't look at the page count. I didn't count. Um,
22,
but
23,
it
20
yeah, it felt like just a regular size thing,
standard.
but
Mhm.
it felt very meaty as far as the story goes. There's a lot going on there,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I was pretty pretty impressed by that, and I felt that we got a lot of story to it. But yeah, I mean I agree that some of um the shape shifting aspect of it was part of the story, and it was eventually sort of the downfall of of the uncle.
Mhm.
He should have just done what he wanted. I don't think he could have. I think he knew he had to get rid of the children, but he didn't feel that he didn't say this, but the fact that he had them shapeshift, he didn't he couldn't kill them himself.
Right.
Like he needed something else to do it for him. So so yeah, I can see where the shape shifting was just sort of like a means to an end.
Right. Right.
But yeah, it's also I think it's a little bit of hubris too that he just thought, oh, if I just do this, then they'll never survive because of how much they don't depend on one another. And in that kind of you saw a bit of that, as they were sort of on their own for a while. But yeah, I mean, I
The,
felt like the other kids, the younger kids, did kind of get sort of shortchanged, and not a whole lot was being said about them.
right.
And so until you get to the end of it, and they sort of come in and like, oh, we've just been looking for you, and I'm like, yeah, she kind of left you, yeah. She thought you were dead, and just kind of moved on. Well, not moved on, but
But there was a couple, uh, not holes in the story, but maybe a couple leaps in
yeah,
storytelling to
yeah,
get from point A to point B to keep it going on,
yeah, yeah.
which absolutely not going to fault anyone. It's a
No,
story and it's got to finish, but it's like, okay, you have some ample space for retcon if you ever want to go back and
right.
fill
Yeah,
in, it's like, yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah,
Doug,
and
it's a really good story.
yeah,
Actually, if you're not familiar with the storyteller series that Boom has put out. This is like the seventh or eighth,
yeah,
besides the original, which was just titled The Storyteller. But every series revolves around a concept or a creature,
mhm,
which is giants. This is shapeshifters, and each one has been 4 issues.
yeah,
Sometimes an issue has multiple stories, but they have gotten away from that the longer they've been doing this series until now each issue has one story typically,
yeah,
revolving around whatever the theme, and you can always tell what the theme is going to be when you see the series advertised.
yeah. Yeah, I would definitely, if you've never read any of the storyteller stuff, definitely check out this mini series. Give it, so you can kind of get an idea.
Yes.
Or unless you're just, bullheaded like I am, and just all right, just give it to me, just whatever, and I'll just go buy a bunch of stuff and check it out. So
Beautiful hardcover collections that
yes,
they do after each one, and I have talked about this every month for probably the last 6 or 8 months, um, about these hardcover books that
yeah,
they put out for these series. They're just beautiful to look at.
yep. And I really dug the art in this. It was that sort of. I was trying to think like it's sort of this old school. Like, have you ever watched um like old Disney animation, like movies about movies being made, sort of like the old animation cells, and sort of the sketchy design. Like it had sort of that sort of older Disney feel to it. Uh, I don't want to say Don Bloom because that's not right,
Mhm. His
but
his
it's
is much more cartoony.
yeah, it sort of had that. I don't know. Just it was a lot, sketchier as far as like there weren't like hard inking around the edges and stuff like that. There was some fluidity to it and everything, and I just really dug it. It just had very sort of old feel to the artwork and to the inking and everything. I really dug it. So those are the things that typically will draw my attention quickly. And there's a cat.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize he was. Yep. Now he's definitely in the here. Maybe let me put you over here. Sorry about that, guys. That's Kitsune. By the
Yeah.
way, that's the
I
boy
was going
cat.
to say, I heard you talking about me earlier.
Yeah, came to see.
All right. So, anything else on that before we jump
No,
over?
no, I'm good.
All right, cool. Yeah. So definitely check out Storyteller. I think if you, this particular issue is pretty much a good example of what's been done in the past, and so yeah, something to check out. So the last book we'll talk about tonight is Seven Secrets, number 15. Uh, it's still one of my favorite books that Boom's putting out right now, or just on the shelves in general. It's written by Tom Taylor, illustrated by Danielle Delacunio de Niculio. I'll get
The
that.
Nic-
I'll get it right
Nicol
one day.
Nicola
I need to listen to an
Nicola.
interview. I need someone who has Danielle on a show. I need to listen. Anyway,
Hey,
uh,
hey, hey,
yep,
Chris, it
yep.
worked. Doug S says I will definitely pick up. Thanks. I mean, that's
There you
exactly
go.
what we try to do. It's
That's
it worked. We got one. Yeah,
if we got one.
yeah.
We got-
If we could
and
get
that's
one
all we
per
do.
episode,
Yeah,
we'd be, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And if you can tell us that you picked up a book, that'd be even better.
And Doug, if you do end up picking it up and giving it a read, let us know,
Yeah.
at some point what you thought this issue or the next issue, whatever you do. We'd be interested to hear your thoughts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Lettered by Ed
Letter
Dukeshire, you said?
better. Dukeshire, colored by Walter Bayamonte, with color assistance by uh,
Katja
Katia
Renali.
Ranale. And logo designed by Grace Park and designer Madison Goyette. So I said it last issue, and I'll say it this issue. We're building toward the end of this series. I don't know when that is, but we're definitely building toward it. And this is not an ongoing series by any stretch of the imagination, and I felt we kind of knew that going into it. But it definitely is. We're culminating to something. If you've been paying attention to the series up to this point, all of the secrets are being exposed. There was the only secret I think that hadn't been shared was the first secret. The one, and that's the one that Casper's been carrying around. So Amon has taken upon himself to expose all the secrets, and by doing so, he is trying to gain all of the secret cases himself, with help of people he's either manipulated or lied to or whatever, who feel like he is he's on their side. But Amon is purely out. It's obvious he is out for his own gain. He's trying to disguise it as I'm trying to help everybody. But it is for sure. It does not matter what he has to do. He is going to expose this, those that are keeping the secrets and what those secrets are. And I don't care what happens to the world. I mean, literally the world, in order to do that. So, and I say that because this particular issue, he opens up. I forget which case number it is. It doesn't actually. I can't even remember. It doesn't say on the first couple of pages. But he opens up the case, and there has been a vision that Casper has had about a seven-eyed monster. And he knows that he is going to have to fight this monster, and he knows, or this demon, excuse me, and he is well aware that this demon may kill him. So the secret that Amon opens up is that particular demon. Amon has also seen the vision. He knows what's going to happen, but the demon, when he opens up the case, is a baby, not a full grown a full-grown demon, and he is very confused. He's like, "This is not what I saw." So he is trying to figure out what to do with that. During all this time, he and his crew have taken out some of the other keepers, secret holders at this point, and so Casper is showing up. Casper, just full in, I don't say in control, but fully aware and knowing that he has some kind of at least a flying ability. And he is pretty serious about using it, gets there and is trying to help his friends who were attacked and had their secret cases taken from them. So again, Casper, knowing what he knows, this demon, he and this demon are going to have to face each other, and then seeing that the demon is this baby, he knows he's got time. Based on the vision that he had, that this is not his end yet. And so that's kind of where we are. So everything's kind of moving. Amon ends up taking the demon to fairy world, and then we get a little bit about what the demon is, who the demon is, as far as its role and things, especially in the fairy world. Um, and then and then we unfortunately we lose a couple of members of the secret keepers at this point. Um, in in sort of a sad way, um, which was sort of unfortunate. But I feel like that's why I think we're getting toward the end of whatever this major story or what this story is. What do we do on the other side of it when we get to it? I have no idea. Again, we could go another 10 issues. I don't know. Um, but we do get a very interesting reveal at the end of this issue. All of the secrets have been open except for one, the one that Casper's been carrying. And his mother explains to him um, that he doesn't need to carry the secret anymore or carry the case anymore because there's nothing in it. There is no secret in the case, which has him a little confused. And she explains to him that he is the secret. He is the seventh secret. And so that's where we're left at. So what does that mean? Obviously, we don't know. It's a secret. We we don't know. We do know that obviously there's going to be a big battle coming with him and this demon. But again, we're still not 100% sure what Amon has got going on as far as like what is his. Uh, I mean, we know what he is saying he wants to do, but is that actually his end goal? Um, so it's just it is a this issue read super fast. There's a lot going on as far as action sequences go. It was definitely a book that I had to go back and look over a couple times just to make sure I caught everything. But it's it is very high paced. If this was an animated series, this would have been. Although I have seen some, I was going to say this would have been a quick minute and a half, 2 minutes in the middle of a big action sequence. But I have seen some Naruto episodes where it should have only taken you 30 seconds to tell that, and it took 2 episodes. So I have to take that back.
And that's very much. I still haven't read any of these. Well, no, I read one issue, but it definitely puts me in mind of anime, both in
Yeah.
somewhat in the artwork, but definitely in the storytelling style and the
Hmm.
pacing and the visuals as
Yeah.
far as uh, panel construction. Again, not as much the artwork, although the artwork does to some extent put me in mind of
Yeah.
anime.
Yeah.
But the whole concept so far, this whole series really, I think, leans on and would appeal to those fans of uh, story driven, adventure-y, fighting-y anime.
Hmm.
As you see nowadays, it's a very modern kind of artwork, not an '80s kind of
Right.
anime
Yeah.
artwork.
Yeah. And this is, and I know not a lot of
Naruto takes for
Doug.
now.
Doug's
Now
right on the nose there.
all of this. Let's keep in mind. After the first very, very quick part of the animated Naruto, the problem they ran into is that they surpassed the manga. And so in doing that, the anime had to fill until the next
Yeah.
manga came out and they could
Hmm.
adapt the next manga. So truly, you're absolutely right. There is a lot of filler in the anime because of that. All right, Stephen. Ciao, brah.
Yep. Steven's got to go. Well, Steven, you have a good one, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, you're right. It does feel like there's a lot of filler because, well, it's all filler after
Oh
a certain
yeah.
point, and
Yeah.
it's after a certain point pretty early on in the story. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've even seen an episode of My Hero Academia where a fight scene, I think it was literally just like the pose of some dude. It took a whole episode.
Oh,
I was just
well,
like, I was
now
like, kill me now. I don't
if
want to
that's
watch
what you're
this.
talking about, we have to talk about Dragon Ball.
Oh, for sure.
Whichever volume of
Sure.
Dragon Ball you want to talk about. That, you know, you're talking about a fight between two people taking 5 and 6 and 7
Yes.
episodes.
Yes.
It's like,
I
dude.
totally,
Yeah.
totally agree. Yeah.
They're just screaming, powering up for like half the episode.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, so in talking about introducing series to people who haven't read it, who are jumping in at issue 15, like Seven Secrets is right now. Um, as much as I I don't want you to do that. I don't want 15 to be your first issue. I don't want 14 to be your first issue. I don't want 12. I want issue 1. This is definitely a story that is being developed from the first issue to whenever the last issue is. And again, this is a finite series. This is not going on 100 issues. It can't. I don't. If it, I say it can't. This particular story that is being told right now, if it goes more than, like I said, to issue 25, um, I don't know what they can tell. And that's not a bad thing. I don't want anybody to get me wrong. I feel that the pacing of this has been great. No, I don't think anything's been wasted in the storytelling getting to where we are. I feel every little bit has been nice, has been played when it needed to be played, and even all of Adon's sort of in and out with who he's working with and who he's manipulating and stuff. It's even the backstory that we get in some recent issues of his backstory and everything was right. It happened when it needed to happen, and it worked well. It didn't take away from anything with the story or pacing or any of that kind of stuff. But I do think Seven Secrets is a book that needs to be read from the first issue. I think if you don't do that, you're definitely not getting the whole story. And I hate telling someone, "Hey, you need to go back and pick up 14 other issues." I hate
Well,
doing that, but it
now
you gain more on the story that way.
that having been said, there are 2 trade paperbacks out. Each
Yeah,
trade is 6 issues.
yeah,
So, um, in picking up 2 trades, you're 12. So you only need
yeah.
3 individual copies to be caught up. Also, that having been said, Chris, 6 per trade, so it's either 18 or 24
Right. That's
is
true.
going to be what the
Good point.
series is. So, from what you're saying, it could very well be 18 is going to be what this story is.
Yeah.
Um, so, but yeah, as far as catching up, 2 trade purchases, 15 bucks a piece. Come on.
There.
The first one is worth 15 bucks just to see if you like it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So 2 trades and 3 issues and you're caught up. And the most recent issue, this 15 came out last week.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
that's where you are.
and even on top of that, if your local comic shop doesn't have these trades, go to instocktrades.com. You
Yes,
can get
and it'll be less than 15.
30% off or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously go shop locally to your shop first. I mean, I I never like and I'm honestly, I was talking to my shop owner about that today or this past weekend. I was like, I used to just automatically go to in stock trades for
Doug
trade paperbacks and
Doug
stuff.
says he's read it. He's just fallen a little behind.
Oh,
So cool beans.
yeah, good.
There we
That's
go.
good. But that's just one of those things. I mean, hopefully you can agree with me. To not having read at least those opening issues, to get a little backstory on Casper and just sort of the whole world of characters. You're just gonna, you're gonna be a little lost on things. But even like if you read this issue, yeah, there's a lot that happened in it. But like knowing that, what was it, Switzerland got decimated because
Yeah,
this
you said
the
it got
fourth
blown up.
secret got opened. Like they make a reference to it in this issue, but they don't. It's not specific, and so you might just look past that if this is your first issue. But having read, I think it was like issue 11 or 12 that it happened. Yeah, they blew away a country, opening up like everybody in it is gone. And that's sort of shows you, why these secrets needed to be hidden. Now, what is Casper? What is this secret that Casper is? I don't know, but I'm really interested in figuring it out. I mean, obviously, he has some magical abilities or superhuman abilities. Now that we're introducing fairies and that kind of stuff, it's definitely, I feel, magical. One of the fairies even says that they tried to slit his throat when he was a child. So it's it's I feel that that's kind of the direction we're going in, and it not being a superhero, thank God. Like I'm good for the magic stuff.
He agrees with you.
Yeah,
Your
Doug agrees with
your
me.
best
Yeah,
bet is to start at the beginning. And again, it's only into its 15th issue, so
yeah,
it's not,
and not every series is like that, but
you
this
know,
one definitely
we're
is.
we're not talking X-Men or
Yeah,
Spider-Man or,
yeah,
so I mean, 15 issues.
and it's Tom Taylor. I mean, I think if you've only been exposed to Tom Taylor's like DC work and even some of his Marvel stuff, but mainly his DC work, I think you can, you know, just based off of that, go, oh yeah, this is something you definitely need to read the whole thing.
Is
And
that Nightwing?
he's currently doing Nightwing right now. Yeah,
Is he doing Nightwing?
he's
Okay.
the one that did all the deceased stuff.
Oh,
That
okay.
everybody went crazy for.
Okay. Yeah,
I've
not
not
me.
read
But
any. Well, I've not read any of it, so I can't say. But I
yeah.
listened to a lot of podcasts who were very gung ho about it. And
Deceased, isn't that Marvel Zombies for DC?
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah,
what? Oh, okay.
yeah.
My
That's
bad.
basically
Okay.
what it is.
Yes,
May-
I don't mean
Maybe
to
maybe it's Marvel Zombies done right.
don't
Maybe.
mean to cast aspersions. The first Marvel Zombies was okay,
Oh, it was.
but in trying to get
You mean
more
in
out of it,
Ultimate
they
Fantastic Four?
yes,
Okay,
yeah, which wasn't
since
even
that's
Marvel Zombies. It's
since
yeah,
that's where it came from.
where yeah, that's where it started. It was an awesome concept there, but yeah, the more they used it, the more it yeah,
Got
leave it alone.
diluted. Yeah.
Yeah, just stop. Just
I'm not
stop.
even I'm not even worried about the bite anymore. I'm just maybe the bite will just hurry up and put me out of my misery.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
wow, that was fun. Our apologies, maybe. Probably not.
I don't yeah.
So yeah, so Seven Secrets definitely worthwhile checking out. Um, so uh yeah, so I guess that's it. Those four books. We definitely have some stuff next week to talk about. We're gonna finally talk about Midas Flesh. Is that what we agreed
Yes,
on?
Midas
Okay.
Flesh.
So we will be talking about that next week.
And that is
Um,
I'm gonna do it too.
you're
See,
gonna do,
that
there you
is
go.
that is this
Yeah,
book. Midas
there you
Flesh.
go.
This is the A cover for issue 1.
And this is the A cover for issue 8.
Yes. So
So,
Midas Flesh.
'cause I
And
just happened to be on top.
after reading this, I don't think I ever finished it the first time around.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well, there you go. I'm glad you had this opportunity.
it was interesting. Much more
I
interesting
didn't
than I thought because I thought I had read it all before and I'm like,
I
well,
didn't
it'll just be a
remember the
retelling.
ending. I
Okay.
remembered the middle and a little bit vaguely. I mean, it has been. Let's see, when did this come out again?
7 years,
2014. So I mean, my brain.
7 years, 8
I've
years,
had a
7.
few things happen, but since then. So not being sarcastic, it's just that's a long time for me. So yeah, but yeah, the ending I didn't. I didn't remember, and so it sort of took me by surprise again.
Mhm.
I'm assuming it took me by surprise back then too. But yeah, so it was. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little more in depth next episode, as well as a couple of books.
Couple books from this week, and
Yeah,
then anything that strikes our interest from next week.
yeah,
So don't think that there was nothing coming out this week on the 16th that didn't interest us. We just didn't have room.
yeah,
So we'll
yeah,
talk about those next episode.
yeah. So we'll definitely do that. So all right, cool. Anything else before we do all the closing?
No, sir.
Cool. All right. So come by the website. It is boomaddiction.com or comicaddiction.net. Both of those take you to the same place. That's where all of the season 3 episodes are listed. You can go in there and you can check all that stuff out and go to our various links, places. And just a few we picked, a few places that you can go, like Stitcher and Spotify, and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcast. You can go check. But there's obviously uh, they're on any and every podcast catcher.
Or
I'm sure Podcast Pickle still has it.
if it,
Um,
hey, if I may make a suggestion,
sure.
watching Twitter over the past weekish or so, a lot of our podcasting compatriots have run into issues with Apple Podcasts updating.
Mm-hmm.
And the way around that is to grab the RSS feed off the website
Yeah.
and load it into your podcatcher yourself.
Yeah.
That way, your download is from the source
Yeah.
and not from an aggregator. A lot more reliable in the long run, as this week's issues with, and I've had my own issues on and off with Apple Podcasts, but
Yeah.
there were a slew, and as it came out, people are like, "Well, yeah, me too," and I noticed mine, and it so apparently recently there seems to be an issue with Apple
Hmm.
Podcasts updating. I don't know, comic book podcasts. I don't know why it would just be that genre. So it
Yeah.
must
That is
not
a little
be. It must
strange.
just be in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, just go to the website, grab the RSS feed, and direct load it, and then you
Yep.
get it from the source as soon as it's available.
Yep. So good stuff there. So you can contact us. That's our favorite way. Actually, go by our Facebook group, fans of Boom Studios. If you're not, if you're one of those folks, oldie folks like us, we still have Facebook accounts. Been there since almost the beginning of Facebook. I had to look down at my pretend watch to tell me what year it was.
Yeah.
I remember when I got introduced to Facebook I was in Cleveland with a bunch of folks, and they were like, "Hey, this Facebook thing." I'm like, "I don't know." So they explained it to me, and I was like, "Yeah, it sounds dumb. Sure, I'll sign up for it." Isn't
Sounds
that what
dumb.
all social media is?
You're just a hard sell, man.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
just doesn't
wow.
doesn't take much. Yeah. So yeah, go over to Facebook. We have Fans of Boom Studios. Ed is always, always, always finding all of the links and all of the stories and all of the things, not just on Facebook, but other websites and stuff, providing that kind of information. It's a good catch-all if you're looking for information about Boom and kind of what they got going on in different outlets.
Case in point, I was looking today and I found a podcast from what's her face, Defna, Daphna,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and I was going to post a link to a podcast that she was on where the person interviews comic book editors,
Hmm.
and it was 2.5 years old. So I
Oh
was
no.
like, maybe I'll pass on that one. So yeah,
But that is good. That would be a great podcast to have. You
it.
know,
Well, I have it. If you want it, I can give you
yeah,
what the
definitely.
podcast is.
Yeah,
But
send me the link for that
yeah,
so I
I
can
got
check it
excited. I'm like, oh, cool. She just, oh yeah, and
out.
I,
Yep,
I went
super old.
to grab it to post it, and I'm like, 2019, what?
Whoops.
Okay, yeah, we'll pass on that one
We'll
then.
try that again later.
Who knows what has changed in the world since then?
Ex-
So yeah, might, might
Uh,
not work.
so if you find an old podcast like that and you want to let us know, you can email us at boomaddiction@gmail.com. Definitely send it through direct message through Twitter to both Ed and I. We would definitely appreciate that. You can follow the website at Boom Addiction. You can follow Ed at Teal Production. You can follow me at Chris Barton. Those, as always, are the best ways to get in contact with us. I don't apologize. I'm back in the office now. after 2 years, like physically in the office. That is a lot. Like today, I'm overwhelmed. Like I've been working from home, and I'm not overwhelmed. Like, oh my god, just sensory overload. It was just like there was a lot going on. There was just like when you, I don't know when, I don't know if everybody's like this, but it's like when you work from home remotely or something like that, and you have like Microsoft Teams or whatever you want to use, Skype. Well, people still use that. Um, having those kind, even just a phone call, you don't talk to people as much, but when they're physically in the next desk to you, or in the same room as you, or in the same floor as you, you will find reasons to go talk to that person. And I had a lot of people come talk to me.
Finding a reason to come and talk to you.
Yes, and
Okay.
I mean it made me feel good, but at the same time, I was like, I'm getting nothing done. I have projects. I need to get them
Yep.
done. Let's be social, yes, but at the same time, I've got a lot to do, and I just hadn't had that feeling in 2 years. It was great to feel, but at the same time, I was a little stressed out, and so I think I'll be fine tomorrow. But and then also having to get home to do this show and everything, I was like, oh my god. So yeah, so if I don't immediately respond to you on Twitter, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just
Hey,
I
it,
didn't even pick my phone up for until after lunch to even listen to music.
those of us out here knew it was going to be a big deal because the missus posted interference for you on Facebook this morning. So,
It's,
when the missus gets involved and is trying to help a brother out, it's going to be rough.
I had
So,
people at work that were very entertained by that.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, she even knew. It's like,
Oh,
help my boy out here
the
because
conversations that she and I have had, we've had a good time with it. I don't think she really thought I'd be okay. I really don't think she did.
uh,
So, I'm a big boy. I'm 47 years old. Although
well,
if
but
you'd have asked me a couple of weeks ago, I thought it was 46. So
you never know, man.
So let's see. So that's Twitter. We did the
For
email. We did
the
the
email,
Facebook.
the
We did the
website. Yep.
website. All the other stuff. So if you do listen to us on those podcast catchers, especially like Apple Podcasts, Spotify does it now. Anywhere that has like reviews and stuff, it's sort of cliche to say, oh, please leave us a 5-star review or whatever. But it does help. I mean, if you don't have that kind of stuff, it does get people's attention. But I'd be uh, more grateful if you just told somebody, just say, "Hey, this is a thing. Are you interested?" I mean, I've been surprised in I'll say the last month of going into a shop, going into my local shop, which is a small store, and talking to just random people who pick up a Boom book or say something like, "Oh, I didn't know that Boom did Firefly." Or whatever, and those kind of things, like licensed property, and we have a little fun poking fun at licensed properties and stuff like that, but a lot of them that's what's familiar to people on the shelf,
They work.
and they work. And so I've kind of made a point of reading those, and so I can at least have that conversation with these people and go, hey, look, this series did this volume did that, this arc is doing this, new creative team over here, and at least having that head knowledge. um it's happened more in the last month and a half than it has in the last year,
Cool.
and I'm digging that. And yes, I talk about the podcast very briefly. I'm like, oh, reason I know that, because I don't want to sound too nerdy, but it's like the reason I know that is I do this podcast, blah blah blah, and the shop owner knows that. He brings it up to people. Oh yeah, he does a podcast about Boom, like that. If something like that pops up, it's just funny that that happens when I walk into the store. I can only imagine how many times it happens when I'm not there.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So
I know a guy that can tell you all about that. When he
yeah.
comes in, I'll yeah.
Yeah, so I've enjoyed it. I like being a resource for people. I do that at work. I mean, that's sort of my job at work. So
Um,
having that little bit of being that resource for
I
folks at local
think
shop.
you even briefly thought about being that resource on Twitter way back in the day.
For
Weren't you something answer man or
Oh
something like
God,
that?
yes. Oh
Uh-huh,
no,
see
I
there?
know. I forgot all about that. You're right.
Oh,
I
I've
wanted that so bad.
since we have known each other, everything you have done on Twitter, I have followed. So at some point, I will run across all of these things. So don't worry, I've got them, even if you don't. There,
That
yeah.
is the thing.
So
For those of you who don't know what Answer Man was, or whatever I was going to call it was, or whatever the final name was finally going to be,
yeah, I forget.
I had reached out. The point was to
Yeah,
be sort of an answer to whatever your questions are. And so the idea was to do a podcast that would answer one or two questions. It was a short episode kind of thing. But the idea was you would email me some comic book related question, not trivia or anything like that, but like history, or
yeah.
like how does, what's an unlockable cover, those kind of things. I had reached out to probably 100 plus people, from friends of mine who are podcasters, to friends of mine who worked in comic shops, who had been in comic shops, to not complete strangers, but comic book creators that I knew from, whether it just be like, "Hey, how you doing?" kind of thing, to people I've interviewed and stuff like that. I had built sort of a Rolodex of resources. And the idea was, you ask the question, and if I can bring on one of these people for a 5 or 10 minute conversation to answer your question, that's what I was going to do, because I'd liked being able to provide a resource for people. And so it would then become, like said, this long, like a forum, a long journal of questions answered. And
Mhm,
so when someone goes, "Hey, what is an unlockable cover?" And if that's something I've covered already, I'm go, "Oh, in episode whatever, I talked to so and so, and they explain what it is." And I could either tell you what it is, but I would probably push you over there to, like, at least go listen to it. Um, and so that was kind of the idea. I still, asking people to do that. I was shocked. I really was. I was shocked at the number of people in the comic book, like, industry, like writers, artists, editors, who were like, "Yes, you just, anything you need, quick question, whatever, let me know." Like,
mhm.
I can't remember. I mean, some of them ignored me, just didn't respond at all, and that's fine. I knew what I was asking was very bizarre, and I even put it in the email that I sent out to folks. I was like, "I know this is a crazy question, but here's what I'm trying to do." But a lot of them were very much on board, to provide that kind of resource. I just, once you kind of get into the weeds of it, it was getting to be, it would have been the only thing I did,
Mhm.
and as much as I wanted to do it, the idea of spending 10 or 15 hours a week on it.
Putting that
Yeah,
together, I can imagine.
it was gonna be
Yeah.
a beast that I was not ready to try and put a collar on.
And so that, this has been your history of Chris Parton and comic book Twitter.
There's so much out there, folks. I am the Rob Liefeld of podcast ideas. Uh, only a couple of them have actually hit the wall and stuck.
At some point, we'll have to educate the folks that listen to this volume of Boom Studios, our history with Indie Man.
Oh, for
That
sure.
that'll be an interesting story.
Trying to figure out who Indie Man was on a podcast was
Mm.
the I never had more. I don't say never had more fun up, but that was the most fun up to that point in podcasting I think I'd had on a thing that I didn't know what I was trying to figure out. Like, I could have sworn I knew who he was, and then when I did finally find out, I was like, "Oh, well, that makes total sense." All of the everything was lined up. I just didn't see it. I'm too dumb. I want to make it harder than it is. Uh, but it was still, that was so much fun.
Fun story.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we'll definitely do that. Okay, but that's enough. That's enough history lessons and whatnot here at the end of the show. Definitely come by if you. We do. We're recording live on Monday night, but we normally get together on YouTube to do a live show, live recording of the particular episode on Thursdays. We start at 9 p.m., but really get into the show about 9:15. So we're live on YouTube. We'll do, we usually are already talking. Ed and I are already talking about stuff. Again, this episode we kind of started off conversation. We're finishing a conversation about wrestling. So you get a little bit of that. Uh, who knows? One day we may be talking about trading cards, uh, wrestling trading cards. On top of that, so I was gonna say you probably have all of yours. Oh, hockey cards. Yes.
Yeah.
See, that's where you're way more of an expert on the hockey cards than I am. But yeah, so you never know what you're going to catch there. So definitely jump on that. Again, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard on Thursdays is usually when we do it. When we're and I apologize for those of you who missed out. We didn't announce, so we were not doing them the last two Thursdays. And so in the future, if we're not going to do a recording, I will definitely put something on the Boom Addiction Twitter to let you folks know that we're not doing it. And if we do know at the time when we've rescheduled, I'll let you know then. So, um, other than that, check us out. Our podcast. Listen to the audio version of this. It's a little more edited down version of what the live version is. So you can come hang out with Doug and Steven in the chat on
Yep.
the YouTube. That's always a good thing. Give those guys, you all can have a conversation while we have a conversation,
Yes. Yes.
and maybe we'll butt into your conversation. So, other than that, that's it. I hope everybody has a good evening, and we will. Oh, excuse me. Hold on a sec. I need to go back.
Okay.
I need to. I'm a creature of habit, so I have to finish the thing correctly. I want to thank all of you for listening, for watching. Ed, as always, thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir.
And we will catch all of you next week on episode 33, which will be exciting. I'm sure it will be. Goodbye.
Ciao.
I had to do it correctly. I was getting ready to end the show, not ending the show. So,
In the private chat here on StreamYard, I sent you a link to that
yeah, I saw
editor's
that.
podcast. Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely go check that out. That'd be cool.
Do you want to try to get together Thursday night to record again?
Yes, I had already planned on that, at least
Okay.
as far as like at the Barton household. They knew where
Okay.
Chris was going to be.
That's cool.
So yes. So
So
let's.
do you want to do Midas Flesh and the books, or just the books, or
We can do
what are you
minus.
thinking?
Yeah, let's do minus flesh because let's see. As far as we've
Thank
got
you, Doug.
five, we've got 5 books. Oh yeah, I forgot we're still broadcasting. Yeah,
Yeah.
Doug, we will check you next time, and we'll go ahead and end the broadcast so we can figure out what we're doing on Thursday. So if you want to come join us Thursday, same time, same place, we would be very grateful. So have a good week, man.